bottom left, starting location, we have a GSL Code S champion. He is
Grandmaster Wongjin Star Soulkey.
Can he beat all odds against him and get out of this group? We're going to find out soon. He is
New challenger LGIM RagnaroK.
Hi, Ertosis.
Hi, Tasteless.
How's it going, man?
It's going really good, by the way, because I checked on the break, and RagnaroK is like the end of days in Norse mythology. Just like I said.
Really?
Bam. Now who's not credible, Tasteless? You.
Wait, did you say it was end of days?
Well, no, but I said it had to do with Swedish mythology,
yeah,
so that's close
something
enough.
like that. Yeah.
I was basically 100% right, Tasteless, and you
were
know
basically.
I like
You were
trying to get out
90%,
of it.
100% right. Are we gonna have the Overlord high five here?
We could.
All right.
I think this is just going to be like the head nod.
It's okay.
Yeah,
stop.
that's a head nod. That's a,
Yeah.
One of
those when you toss your chin up. Yeah.
Yeah, like,
I did that a lot in high school with other guys.
Did you?
Yeah, it was okay. What's up?
I didn't.
You didn't?
No, I was like staring at the floor while I walked. I was one of those nerds, Tasteless.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
By the way, I do want to point out Soulkey is going for pool first.
Yep.
Just that's a little bit more safe. So, but yeah, Tasteless, that's definitely what I was doing, like looking at the floor, not making eye contact. I had to just concentrate on StarCraft.
I did that too, and it's the bad screen. It's the oh no screen. All right, so we're gonna find out what's going on in just a little bit here.
Yeah. We got to keep it consistent. All right, that's important. So.
In the winner's match and the loser's match, we need to make sure that a PC crashes at least.
Yes, indeed.
Once in each game. So, again, this broadcast is actually piggybacked on GameNet, but when we do find out what's going on and what we need to do and how long we need to keep talking.
Well, I think we're going to need to keep talking like this for 23, 22, 21, 20 seconds.
Now, that's not one of the players dropping, though.
No. This is just one of the many observers from OnGameNet. So.
Okay. All right. So everything should be all right.
We should be all right.
All right. So, yeah.
Sit here spamming the drop button, waiting for him to get down to 0.
So we got one guy going for a pool right away. Was that RagnaroK?
Well, no, that's Soulkey going for the very safe pool expand as opposed to hatch first, which was why I was saying I think the only thing that RagnaroK should not do is an early pool, because this is the standard for Soulkey's ZVZ, is grabbing his pool before his hatchery just for safety's sake, knowing he's a better Zerg.
Yeah. There's another wolf feature down there.
Yeah, this is a Terran map, as we just saw in Flash vs. Yu-Gi-Oh, dude.
It is a serious Stark map here. Yeah, there it is, the wolf head at the bottom left.
Yeah. All right. Well,
I don't think there are many wolves in space, but that must have kind of carried with them the...
wolves in space? No, I don't think so.
Space wolves probably not as much.
Kerrigan needs to get to Earth and make that happen, Tasteless.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Remember that map we had with the goat that you couldn't click on?
Oh, yeah.
Where like if Zerg infested that unit, you wouldn't be able to like target attack it?
You just like move it into their base and watch everything.
Yeah.
That was dual sight.
Dual sight, thank you.
Yeah.
So,
one of my least favorite maps of all time.
I didn't like that map that much at all.
It didn't give very fun games.
No, it really didn't. So, these guys are starting out with slightly different builds, but usually in this matchup you end up in about the same place.
Yeah, it's pretty similar. Like, for instance, RagnaroK, if they do go in the same direction, which is like the more normal direction up towards speed, grab Bailing Nest, stuff like that, RagnaroK will have like a slight economical advantage because of his hatchery first, but they'll be close enough that just Soulkey's skill is going to be able to make up for it.
Yeah. So we'll have to see. Both players going for Link speed now. I'm really wondering, when are they going to get the third base here?
Yeah, that is definitely a very good question, Tasteless. And where do they choose to end up taking it as well? Both players getting Bailing Nests at the same time.
And now we're going to see the Bailing Nest coming down here, as you said. And we're going to see it's pretty even builds right now. Pretty neck and neck.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is where in ZVZ a lot of time we just tell you, look at the production tab, because that's what we're looking at.
Call out for.
There's nothing else that is really going on.
So, as you can see, they're just going to macro up again. ZVZ, when in the early game, when one Baneling actually just connects with a few lings, it can turn the entire game upside down. The entire game can just go to hell. So, you know, these guys are so good at those little micro movements you see there.
Indeed they are. Well, looks like just a single Baneling being morphed right now for Soulkey. Probably just going to be for a little bit of defense back home, make sure that there's not suddenly a giant plume of Zerglings trying to run up his ramp and ruin his day.
Right.
And as speed finishes, of course, we do see exactly this. This is just very standard for ZVZ. Every single time when speed finishes, you'll see both players try to run 2-up. In fact, right at this second, Yu-Gi-Oh's doing it, or RagnaroK rather is doing it as well.
What do you think about RagnaroK actually putting those evolution chambers in the back?
Well, you prevented them from being scouted.
That's
true.
So
that's a big deal. Now, it does leave his front a little bit more open.
That's what I was wondering about as well. Is like, okay, so there's a front going to be open?
I would say it's better than putting them in the front. Because, you know, he's going Roach. Is Soulkey actually going to kill him because he doesn't have evolution chambers in the front? I don't. If he does, well, then he does. But if he stopped Soulkey from ever seeing them, which now is gone and never going to happen, he saw them. But if he did, then suddenly Soulkey might not know what's coming.
Yeah, that's very true. All right, again, another Ling Scout here. Soulkey in great shape so far.
And it looks like Soulkey just wants to go into mutas again, Tasteless.
Yeah, so far it's been a pretty passive game. You know, not a lot that these players are really doing to each other.
No, not too much at all. But, you know, with this Spire coming up, where is the third base going to go? Because he has to make his third base at this point. Soulkey cannot sit on 2 bases while going up to mutas and sitting on lings. He has to have that third base morphing. It's a form of pressure. He needs the economy to catch up on roaches later on. And he still hasn't sent his drone for it.
Yeah, it's been a little bit here. We do see when players are trying to take the third base, especially if one's going for muta, a lot of times Ling Harass is coming down, trying to force that to be denied.
Well, a Nidus Worm being created for RagnaroK at the moment.
You know what? I'm not surprised at all. I'm totally not surprised. That it makes sense for where RagnaroK is, probably at his current skill and where he is in his career.
You know what's really look at this. These 3 queens are going into position. They want to stop this Overseer from scouting it.
Yo, man.
Oh, God. Because if you scout it, it's not going to do anything. Like, you will be able to stop it. The best it can do is, like, come up close.
Is he going to see the Nidus Network? Yes. And he does, right as it's going to finish. Let's see if he cancels.
I don't think he will. I think what you do here is, you just throw it near them, not in their base. You don't try to get a free win like that.
But it's in vision here. This means RagnaroK's strategy is just probably not going to work.
Well, he's thrown up somewhere else immediately here, somewhere that, in fact, Soulkey does not see, but it's not as close.
But Soulkey also knows there's probably an inevitability that this is going to happen.
Yeah.
All right, I thought he was going to go for it right then and there.
Yeah, looks like he just barely does not get there in time. And now he'll Nidus push forward a little bit more. He wants to have the rally point as close as possible. And in fact, still, that's like 400 gas he's already spent on this.
All right, the mutas are now coming out here and harassing.
Oh, God, there's so many.
And this is actually a bit of a disaster here for RagnaroK. And one of the problems is he's already committed here to this attack. In fact, he might even want to loop around with the mutas and hit the Nidus Network again.
There are so many spine crawlers up right now for Soulkey. He's in a perfect condition here. And this is actually why he didn't take his third base, is because this is one of these really quick layer 1-1 roach pushes. Or, you know, all he needs to do is just defend against this at first, and he should be in good shape.
Yeah, he's going to take out that Nidus Network. Another one being made here. But again, time, the only currency right now that RagnaroK does not have, is going to take him out.
Yeah, that is so true, Tasteless. The amount of spines up there is so nice. He has to watch out for any other Niduses that may try to go, let's say, into the main base or something. I don't suspect that that'll happen, but it is a chance he could take.
All right, he's coming up here again with the mutas, and it looks like he actually want to take out the back of that Nidus Network. That's actually pretty smart.
Yeah, unfortunately, with that many queens, the amount of transfuses
it's just not going to die.
That's like infinity hit points. Now the Spore is moving up. He has to get out of here before that Spore really plants, because it does deal so much damage to those mutas.
All right, the mutas are now just going to go ahead and loop around here. Now this is a lot of spine crawlers here he can actually use to defend the third base. I don't foresee these roaches being able to do any damage.
Yeah, there's just so many more long-term structures and units for Soulkey right now. You know, he's got all these spines that can just be moved around at will. He's got his mutas still out doing a good job. And in fact, look at this. He's starting to win a roach battle.
Yeah.
And that's something that just should not be happening against someone who went
all
roach.
The spine crawlers are up there.
Yeah.
Now, RagnaroK, it should actually be impossible for him to expand now. He has no anti-air.
He's going to have to just rely on a high queen count at this point to try to get enough transfusions out, to defend against the mutas, and to try to hold Soulkey's huge amount of roaches back.
All right. There's some hydras out here. I don't know if he should attack into that. But it looks like at the same time, Soulkey's going to expand again on his own over here in the upper left.
You know, I like that expansion spot because the spines are going to be better at defending that. It makes the army go really far away around to attack through the back. Whereas if he took that pocket expand with this many spines, where does he put them? He can't possibly defend his ramp and the third with those. So really good spot for him to take, especially since he has a more mobile army.
All right, yeah, I totally agree with you 100%, Artosis. He's going to go ahead and try to, again, to just... Oh, by the way, actually, map control completely going here to Soulkey. RagnaroK has no idea what's going on anywhere. He hasn't been able to get a ling outside of his base.
But let's point out as well, this is what the game against Yu-Gi-Oh! Looked like also.
That's very true. It was just, you know, defend, and then all of a sudden... you know, his opponent actually managed to bounce back. So Soulkey wants to be careful not to overextend himself here.
Yeah. Well, let's see. You know, RagnaroK is actually the one going for the infestation pit. So will he be going for, you know, he could, of course, go for the hive if he wants to continue his upgrades quite a bit. He could be going for some infestors, which, of course, is still helpful with Hydra Roach. Or he could be going for a lot of swarm hosts.
All right, as you can see here, he's just going to take out this queen here, and this is just all a delay right now. Oh my god, he's going to try to come in here with these roaches. Tough call close to see if he would have actually won that. That was a quick shot we got. Well, you know, with these hydras here, I think he's definitely going to be in good shape to try to push forward.
Definitely, especially since his mutas are running around the map, still doing damage right now. You know, those are units that he doesn't even care if they die at this point. And RagnaroK, actually, he started to grab pathogen glands, but then switched over. So he's actually going to be going for swarm hosts, which is going to make good use of his upgrades at least.
I love the mutas taking out the gas here. This is such a smart move.
Yeah.
Because if you get rid of that gas, it's just going to be less infestors and everything else like that. But the nice transfuses do manage to save the day.
Yeah, very good job there. But these mutas still being so annoying. Look, Overlords, drones, he's making the queens use energy. There's nothing bad about what these mutas are doing except for RagnaroK.
Yeah, and he takes out that queen. He might even go for that Nidus network there, since they do die so quickly.
Yeah, why not? Kill anything he can, absolutely. And he's stifling the production of RagnaroK as well. In the meantime, both players going for those swarm hosts. And of course, when you have a lot of roaches and hydras with them, that's definitely the right choice. It's not so easy. You know, if you have a flying army, like a very Mutalisk-based army, into the swarm hosts, then something like Banelings can do very well against them. But when you have this big, bulky army behind it, the Locusts are going to be just worth way, way more.
All right. Yeah, this should actually end up to a very long game, by the way. A very long turtley game here. We probably see destructible units attacking into each other.
Yeah, if a fourth base isn't taken soon from RagnaroK, I'll actually be very surprised because there's not... I can't see either of these players walking across the map and killing each other yet.
I agree.
They're going to have to get a lot of swarm hosts out, and then we're going to just see who's better at moving their army in waves with those locusts, who's getting more value. And I feel like that's going to be Soulkey, especially since he has those spines.
One thing that Soulkey can do is, since his opponent is going for swarm hosts, he can go for a big drop.
Oh, yeah.
Into the main. Or you could do Nidus Network, but you don't really need to. You can just do a drop, and then if it doesn't work, you actually get out again. So
yeah, you know, I hadn't thought of that at all, Tastes, but that's a really good point because this is how, for instance, normally swarm hosts are used against Protoss. And this is one big way Protoss gets around is by a lot of drop harassment. So definitely something we could end up seeing.
It does look like RagnaroK is intending to be offensive here. And by the way, I got to say, RagnaroK playing very well here. Despite, you know, I think not being the favorite. Oh, and I love this roach run around.
Yeah.
This is how you do it.
This is
perfect.
This is one of the ways in which Soulkey distances himself from other Zergs. He's always got these extra units running around. Do these roaches matter right now? No. Silly guy. I can't believe you're thinking those roaches matter right now.
So he's going to continue to push out now. He did pull the army back. You got to be careful because, again, if he catches those swarm hosts out of position, it can be really bad. They are not very agile units.
No, they certainly are not. And in fact, that was almost a little bit dangerous. But he does have the rest of his army coming up to support it.
Interestingly, Soulkey not pushing out with his swarm hosts.
Yeah, you know, the thing is they're so far away and there's no creep, so you can't quite get there right now. Which is
That's true.
It's such a funny thing how creep changes the power. And who's going to let creep go forward when they both have these swarm hosts like this?
Yeah, that's very true.
That puts them in such comfortable positions. How do you ever attack into this at the moment?
We have a few mutas coming out here now, and I like the spine crawlers. He's really turtling it up really hard right now.
Looks like the last couple mutas finally do go down. And, you know, we do have the upgrades continuing. It looks like Soulkey actually is going to be the first going for that 3-3, whereas RagnaroK is definitely a bit late on his hive, and that's going to make him behind in the free units tab, Tasteless, because
yeah, that's actually very true.
Broodlings are going to be out before he has any.
Yep. Broodlings, of course, from the Broodlord. Then you got to factor in the Locust from the Swarm hosts. And then, of course, you got to factor in, infested Terrans as well.
That's true.
That's a lot of units that don't cost supply, that just cost mana.
Yeah.
Or some that don't even cost mana, like the Broodlings and the Swarm and the Locusts, excuse me.
Yeah. It's an interesting thing that we're going to be watching, Tasteless. Definitely, there are already Corruptors on the way for Soulkey, so he's going to have those Broodlords out quite quickly. Now, there are 7 Infestors out for RagnaroK, whereas 0 for Soulkey, but the Infestors, I think, are going to play a smaller role than the Broodlords.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. I like Soulkey's position better. The Broodlords are just better in this position.
I have to agree with you on that. I'm not sure. The thing is, if he starts to break through Soulkey, then the Infestors are awesome. But how do you break through that which is free, Tasteless?
That is
Confucius
a good question.
once asked.
That's very true. Just like he said, men cannot play StarCraft with clenched fists, you know?
That's right.
One of his many wise sayings. Right now, they can't really attack into each other. What you're seeing in the middle of the map is just Locusts. It's just expendable units.
Yeah. These are all free.
That spawn out of the backs of the swarm hosts every, 15 seconds or something like that?
I'm not sure.
I don't actually know the exact time.
Too fast is how fast.
Yeah, too fast. Fast enough for me to always lose my expansionist pronouns to them. That's how fast.
Indeed. All right, Broodlord's on the way. More spine crawlers coming up as well. This is going to be crazy.
We should see a Broodlord push here. And see? Called it again. So, this is going to be very, very, very tough here for RagnaroK to hold.
It's right now he actually has one more Swarmo Soulkey does, and then he of course has 7 Broods as well. So there's no question that his army at this moment is superior.
Yep. And we're going to see what the plan is. Again, RagnaroK has some good defense, but this expendable army moving forward, it just might be too much.
Yeah, the expendable army is so important. He has enough Hydras to stop his Broodlords from being picked off.
Yep, that's very true.
And of course, there's not going to be any way to kill those Swarm hosts that are underground. Now he's starting to use Fungal on free units.
Yeah, that's not a good sign.
It's not the most useful way to do it.
No, it certainly is not.
Yeah, he's throwing down his own Infested Terrans as well, but again, those aren't going to do that well. They actually don't take the upgrades like the other units do.
Just for summation, it's the combination of the Broodlords, Broodlings, and the Swarmos Locusts here from Soulkey. They make this army almost untouchable, but the Corruptors are coming up here now. Looks like, did they take out an Overseer there? Was there an Overseer in Soulkey's army?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, there's one here. There's one here now.
He still has one. And it looks like it probably will be taken out. It does get taken out. I'm sure he's going to be making more very quickly to send over.
It looks like slowly but surely he's just nibbling his way through his opponent's base.
Yeah, he's breaking through. Now, you know, maybe if somehow all these Hydras get killed, he can clean up the Broodlords. But Soulkey, if you look at the bank, he's got a gigantic bank. He's still basically maxed. He's killing bases of RagnaroK's. It looks like RagnaroK is just about to be out of the tournament, Tasteless.
Yeah, but this is kind of a sexy way to win here. Just this never-ending. It's kind of like the Zerg single player or something. Just all these Zerg units just tearing through here. That's it, man.
Yeah.
RagnaroK is going to be the first person out of Group A here.
Yes, indeed, he is, Tasteless.
Yeah.
This game definitely over. Now, Notice he is trying so hard to take out those Hydras. If he could get that, he'd still have maybe a little chance. But you can see Soulkey has so many bases behind. RagnaroK he's 100 supply down. We're just waiting for the GG now.
Yep, he's going to reposition these Swarm hosts and burrow them down in here again. And as long as those Locusts from the Swarm hosts continue to take damage, everything else from Soulkey's side can continue to dish out damage.
Yeah. All right, well.
It's too bad because RagnaroK actually played pretty well,
He did. You know, he did make a few mistakes, though. He focused somewhat heavily on Infestor play. The Infestors weren't really going to do that much because your Locusts, it's like the same thing. Locusts are very good against High Templars as well. You just, if you see a spellcaster coming up, you run the rest of your army away. Go ahead, use your spell on my free units. I don't care. They're free.
Yeah. Soulkey teched in the right direction and it paid off. And you know what, RagnaroK, you can't feel too bad for the guy because this was an incredibly difficult group.
No, he wasn't supposed to come out of this group, and he didn't, so I guess the world is fair.
Yeah, I guess so. So we're going to go on to the final match shortly here. It is going to be Soulkey against Yu-Gi-Oh! And what do you think? You think Soulkey's going to come back and win?
Yeah, I do. I do. He needs to play more like he just played that game, where he's on Roach Hydra first and then goes into the Swarm Host.
I agree, actually.
Because it was a bit too much to just be like, well, I'm jumping straight to Swarm Host. What are you going to do about it? It's like, well, it's going to make Banelings and kill you is what he's going to do about it.
We're going to go to a short little break, and when we return, we're going to go on to our final match of this group here at GOMTV.net.